Welcome to No Hidden Agenda TV, brought to you by the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority and Caesars Entertainment. We kick off this episode celebrating the life and legacy of industry pioneer Marin Bright, founder and CEO of Smart Meetings. On January 28th, the industry was collectively shocked to hear of Marin's passing. Marin launched the meetings industry's first lifestyle magazine and kept innovating and leading various efforts, particularly around women, since then. She will forever be remembered as a legendary force that pioneered many firsts for our industry. All of us at Solomon Productions pray for peace and send love to all who loved Marin.
If you want to take your company off-site, then go off-site, way off-site. So off-site, predictable will never find you. And the status quo can status, because average isn't invited to Las Vegas. But vision and innovation, they were the first to RSVP. The art of business requires imagination, and here, yours is invited to run wild.
We are just days away from watching the big game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Although it pains me to say that, since my Detroit Lions are officially out of the game. I am excited to see how the Super Bowl experience will be, given it's in Vegas for the first time ever. Here to give us some insight into what visitors can expect is LVCVA President and CEO, Steve Hill.
We're expecting somewhere between 330 and 350,000 people in town. No matter where the Super Bowl is played, there are more visitors in Las Vegas watching the Super Bowl than any city that actually hosts it. The fact that we're hosting it just elevates the entire experience. And it also broadens it. It's not really just a weekend event. The teams arrive Monday. There's a big event at Allegiant Stadium on Monday night. The events just go through the week. There are, I think, 14 NFL events in that 7-day span, but there are just lots of sponsor activations and parties and everything that will go around that week as well. So the community has really come together to help make this a fantastic Super Bowl, but also a fantastic event for the community. The NFL is very focused on the legacy of having had the Super Bowl in any city. Las Vegas is no exception. We put a host committee together that's about 200 volunteers who know how to do this throughout the city. There's no place like Vegas when it comes to putting on events. And we have brought the best of the best of our city together, and they've just done a fantastic job. The difference between a Raiders game and the Super Bowl is that when you go to a Raiders game, there are 6,000 people who feel like they're a VIP. And when you go to a Super Bowl, there are 62,000 people there who feel like they're a VIP. Las Vegas is the only city in the world that has a chance to treat 62,000 people like a VIP. We have the rooms for that. We have the restaurant capacity for that. We have the experiences around the destination for that. And no place else is built that way. And we also have all that within about a 4 or 5 mile stretch. We are used to having 330,000 people in town every weekend. We're also built to host major events. We have 62,000 person events at the Super Bowl, while we have 20,000 person events at T-Mobile Arena and 10,000 person people at Michelob Ultra Arena, all in the same night. We're built for this. We know how to do it. We've done it before. We have the capacity to do it at a VIP level at scale.
Steve, we can't wait to do a follow-up interview after the game and find out what some of the biggest learning opportunities and takeaways were. More to come on No Hidden Agenda TV.
Speaker selection is becoming increasingly important as content and education become a huge driving force for increased registration. More and more attendees are having to build a case to prove the value and ROI to attend an in-person event. With that in mind, are you investing effort in sourcing diverse speakers that will bring a dynamic touch to your meeting? Here to discuss sourcing tips and trends is Trevor Lui, principal of Highbell Hospitality Group and co-founder of Quell.
Everyone wants to feel included, and everyone wants to attend something, and everyone wants to feel like if I'm going to give you my money, that I'm getting something back in return and a value. There's this real strong term that we use called representation matters. When I was growing up and coming up in this industry, I never saw anyone like myself on stage. I never saw anyone like myself in the position that I'm in today. We may look different, but we grow up as Americans and Canadians. I'm born and raised in Toronto. I'm a Canadian. I'm more Canadian than a lot of Canadians are. I might not look like it, but I do a lot of things that North Americans and Canadians do, but sometimes I just don't feel like I belong like I'm a Canadian. And so understanding that you're creating experiences that people can relate to and resonate and say, hey, I'm talking or listening to someone that looks like me who has a shared experience. Because a lot of times we don't get to hear those stories. A lot of communities do not get the opportunity to share the same North American stories that other people they've heard talk about get shared. And so for people that look different or come from different communities, it's really hard to connect the dots about understanding what a learning or an outcome of is an education if I don't feel that anyone from my community has gone through the same thing. And we're not just talking about cultural difference, we're talking about orientation, we're talking about accessibility, we're talking about neurodivergency. So it's everything, right? So we have to understand that creating a safe space for everyone, it's actually good business sense too. Understanding that you need to make some changes is a very good first step. Understanding who you can bring in to help you with that journey is really important. If you can't do it and you're not in that space yourself, don't try to do it on your own and don't try to Google it. And then the last one is understanding that continuous improvement is your goal, is really the biggest part of being authentic in this journey. We're available on every level to assist with people, even when it comes to just a thought process of creating some ideas of an audit of how we can help structure and strategize for people and businesses from the ground level. That's what we do.
So much great insight. Thank you, Trevor. Now our next guest needs no introduction. Michael Massari joins us to give his take on the state of the industry.
Well, I think we're in a really healthy environment. The two things the pandemic taught us about the meetings and events business was we really learned to value gathering. Without having face-to-face gatherings for a period of time, it became critical for us as human beings and as business owners and as participants in enterprises on how we grow as people and as businesses. And the second part, which is really related, is that we just came to understand why we gather together. We have a whole generation of meeting sponsors and meeting owners and meeting planners and meeting participants who understand why they're gathering and really place a high value on it. So I think we're in a really healthy place. The city, which was 600,000 people just 28 years ago, is now the host of the Super Bowl. And we've got the Oakland Raiders that play here at Allegiant Stadium. And we're hosting this worldwide event and other events like F1 and presidential debates and all of these things that didn't occur in our little city just a quarter century ago. And so it's really exciting for us. Last year, it was clear I was rooting for my beloved Philadelphia Eagles. But this year, these are two really great franchises with great coaches and great staffs and great players. It's hard to pick somebody that I would be rooting for. I love Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Purdy's such a great story. And there's just so many great stories. I don't know. I don't really have somebody, I guess. If I had to pick one, I'd probably say the 49ers. But it's close. These are two really great teams.
Mike, always a pleasure and can't wait to chat with you on the next episode. As always, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can also listen to No Hidden Agenda on podcast platforms. See you on February 22nd for our next episode. Thank you so much to our partners, Caesars Entertainment and the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority.